Greetings. My name is Professor Gary Roberts. I have the great honor and privilege of being the MPA Program Director in the Robertson School of Government. And this is a servant leader teaching moment. The purpose of this particular segment is to reinforce that servant leadership begins with the identity of a follower first. If we don't get that right, ladies and gentlemen, we will be prone to pride, complacency, and a whole host of other things that afflict leaders. But if we humble ourselves and embrace the underlying character virtues of servant leadership, we build our house upon the rock. So when the wind and the rain and the floods come, our house will stand. So what are these foundational character virtue principles of servant leadership? Well, the first is Colossians 3:23. Work hard and cheerfully at whatever you do, because you're working for the Lord and not for men. I can't stretch this enough. This is all about servant leadership. We don't work for ourselves. We don't work for the United States. We work ultimately for God. And He is the one who writes our spiritual job description. And that's why, in essence, servant leadership begins with being in communion and love with the Lord first. You have to love the Lord your God with all your heart and mind and soul and strength, and your neighbors as yourself. You need to be connected to the vine. And this means to have a dynamic relationship with God, because the only way you can put that full armor on and stand in the battlefield is to be immersed in the Word, in prayer, to be involved in a good church, to have fellowship, to be Mary and sit at the feet of Jesus instead of Martha. Without that, we will not have the true spiritual power that we need. Secondly, we need integrity. In other words, we must be a hearer and a doer. The very worst thing that you can be is to aspire to servant leadership and espouse it, to state this to others publicly and not to follow through. You see in Luke 12:47, those who basically promote themselves and say, I'm going to do good, but don't do it, there's a higher degree of accountability, and there's a higher degree of negative consequences. Integrity is the foundation of servant leadership. Thirdly, humility. Recognize that everything that we have comes from the Lord. Our gifts, our talents, our strengths, our weakness, all these things come together. And we didn't create ourselves. We didn't make ourselves. There are no self-made men or women. So in the terms of servant leadership, it's about the team. It's about the system. You are there to serve. And when things go well, it's because you've got a team around you that enables the organization to do well. We can never lose sight of that fact. Fourth, it's perseverance. Galatians 6:9, you can't weary in your well-doing, because in due season you're going to reap a harvest. Being a servant leader doesn't mean automatic success. The research clearly shows long-term success as a servant leader is across cultures, because it's according to the principles of the golden rule. When you treat others with dignity and respect, there is a spiritual law of blessing that comes from that. And you see that. But you won't always be successful, because we have an enemy of our soul. We have a lot of complex factors in organizations. You're around a lot of wounded and broken employees, customers, clients, wounded and fearful administrators, leadership. And so there's no guarantee of worldly success, but that's not why we practice servant leadership. We do it because it honors the Lord, and ultimately We want to be able to generate in our lives not haywood or stubble that gets burned up, but precious metals, jewels, and stone, as the Apostle Paul says, that stands the test of fire. And finally, it's respect. It's really the golden rule in practice. It's Matthew 7:12. Treat everybody with dignity and respect, and confer dignity and respect. So servant leaders, for example, make sure that every single employee, every single staff member knows why their job is important. Servant leadership begins with exemplary character. And of course, we're all works in progress with this. Our feet are all made of clay. And of course, we are vessels, earthen vessels in which the Lord's glory shines out. But this is the exciting thing about coming to Regent University, the Robertson School of Government, and the MPA program, because you will be taught by outstanding faculty who aspire to live this, and outstanding peer group colleagues who will help grow together. So let me just end in prayer. Lord, I want to give you glory and praise, and just help us that we can't do this on our own. Help us to be in communion and love with you first. Help us to be men and women of integrity. Help us to be humble. Help us to persevere to the end and always demonstrate respect. Give us the strength, Lord, to honor you. We ask these things in the holy, precious name of Jesus. Thank you very much, for this honor and privilege of serving this time here with you together. Until we go to the 10 Commandments of Servant Leadership, which is actually part 3. Until next time.